NYPD radio scanner, there were between 5,000 to 6,000 protesters who left Washington Square along a predetermined march route. The march continued to grow. I heard numbers as large as 50,000, but I cannot confirm that yet. The march ended at one police plaza. There was a demonstration and sneak out. And everybody scattered, and we're getting reports of multiple events and actions all over the city, including up towards Columbus Circle, Washington Square Park, Tompkins Park, Union Square, and here on the Brooklyn Bridge. I haven't walked across this bridge in ages. There's a casserole march starting at 7 on Tompkins.
It's 7:18 p.m. here in New York City. For those just tuning in, you may notice that the entire Brooklyn-bound side of the bridge has been shut down. So the most important thing for you, for everyone watching right now, is that as I make it across the bridge, it was very, very likely I will lose cell connection. If you're just tuning in, this is the Millions March NYC, which has seen wild estimates from 12 to 60,000 people, protests happening all over the city. It's been pretty wild for a bit. We've got police down here on the ground. They're actually making their way up. What's up? What's shut down?
East Lane feeding into the FDR.
Wow. So, well, there's a lot of... Yeah, look. If you look at the other side of FDR, there's no traffic over here.
So why? The ramp block down below. I don't know if it's protesters or police.
Well, I want to try and keep up with the police that are making their way on the bottom left.
Protect and serve.
All right, so for those that are watching, both sides were actually blocked, but most of it is on the Brooklyn-bound side. For a little while, a group of protesters hopped the fence, went over to this side, which is Manhattan-bound, and set up barricades and street cones to block everybody off. So if you're just tuning in, you can find me on Twitter at Timcast, Timcast. Also, make sure to go to fusion.net for context about the protests that have been happening here for a while. So
this one's just going to go spread out all over Brooklyn.
All right, so you want to...
Incidents happening right now in Manhattan. Yeah.
So you want to go back?
I'm curious to get up the march going across the bridge because they're all going to get arrested.
No, they're not.
No, I don't think so.
Not. They
I think
never have before.
During Occupy they did, but I think this time the police...
on this bridge.
Yeah,
recently?
Occupy.
Well, yeah, Occupy.
They let them pass through and they're going to fizzle out, drop Brooklyn, and they're going to go home. There's never a major protest in Brooklyn because there's nothing to protest in Brooklyn. There's always something.
They could go down to Barclays Center and
we're
hearing
that there's stuff going on.
Halfway there, and I'm hearing that there's stuff happening right now on 3rd Ave.
Okay.
They're like shutting down 3rd Ave right now.
Okay. So crossing streams real quick.
All right, check it out. Well, let's do that, but I'm gonna crossing streams.
Yeah, crossing the streams. Do not cross the streams.
We've still got a few protesters here. The police? Yeah, the police. Look. The police are just walking past the protesters who are down on the ground here.
They're just walking past them?
Yeah, look. We've got a bunch of protests. We've got NYPD vehicles straight ahead. And it looks like the police are just going to try and get the road reopened. So I think we should head back and check out what's going on in the city.
Yeah, they're going to let them pass through.
I agree.
They're not going to shut it down and make it road.
What's up, Dave? What's up?
Whoa, what was that?
Where are they going to get?
What was that?
There's a protest.
Someone just threw a garbage can onto the bridge. That's nasty.
Someone littered. Yeah.
So here come the police. We've got journalists.
Oh, hold on.
7:21 p.m. This is the Brooklyn Bridge. The police are clearing the way. We've got a protester holding up a sign. We've got a large group of police, several NYPD vans moving in right now. And just over here, we've got a garbage can that's been thrown from the bridge onto the street. I don't know how they're going to deal with that one. They might have to put it in a van. So they're shining the LED at us. Flashlight for whatever reason.
I don't know, but there's a cop trying to light flashes.
Yeah, he's making sure the protesters don't throw nothing down at him.
Send those killer cops to jail.
These police
Guilty as hell.
coming right behind the protesters who are taking the street outside of the building.
So we were here the entire time this protest has been at One Police Plaza. The police are just looks like they're just driving over the trash here, and it didn't seem like anything was going to happen here. A lot of people had started leaving actually, when all of a sudden we got word that the protesters had started making their way up the bridge, and that was surprising to say the least. So we rushed up here. We saw a huge group of people pouring onto the street, hopping over. It's much lower down at the front, but they're hopping over this thing, going over to the other side here. Again, it's much lower. It's only like 5 feet at the other side, closer to the walkway. But then they started barricading up the Manhattan-bound side, which the police have since reopened, and now we've got NYPD doing a slow patrol down the Brooklyn-bound side, garbage thrown in the street, and it looks like they're not arresting anybody. It seems like they're just going to, clear it and then probably get traffic up against. But there's a lot of other protests happening in Manhattan, so I think we're probably going to head back that way. Also, I can't cross this bridge without having the feed cut off, so let's go do that.
Yeah.
So going across the bridge is going to be folly, both for connectivity and for what's going to happen. Hey Luke, real quick on social media check, were they reporting other spots?
Yeah, I got 3rd Avenue, my last report.
3rd Ave?
Yeah.
That's like a really long road, right?
That's I'm getting precise.
3rd Avenue.
Oh, okay.
So we're hearing that there's some sit-ins happening, 3rd Avenue. There's been a group that went up to Columbus. We're hearing there's a casserole march. There's a lot of protests planned, but we really don't know what's going to happen. In fact, I was really surprised that the protesters came and took the bridge. I'm sure the protesters weren't. It's probably part of their plan, but I'll just keep the feed going, for as long as I can until I can't. But an important thing for those that are watching right now that are familiar with some of the other streams I've done, you may notice that I am live streaming to YouTube. The important thing to get from that is if the feed goes down, I will have to create a new YouTube video and relaunch, and I'll tweet out a new link. So keep that in mind. Again, for those that are watching, if the feed goes down, I will relaunch a different video player. It'll be at a different link, so I'll have to tweet that out to you guys. And what's up?
I've already seen the flaw in that you have to make a separate URL each time.
C'est la vie. But it's gonna go dark for a second when I put my gloves on, so bear with me.
It's Luke Radowski. Normally he has changed, but he has newsfeed. So what are you hearing?
23rd and 3rd.
23rd and 3rd?
Yeah.
Looking good, gentlemen. Looking good.
We got chili.
My dad's a cop. I never had a problem with cops until like the first 2 times I got bludgeoned and occupied. And then I was out looking for a fuck the police t-shirt. I was like, okay, now I get it.
All those things, those people said, I understand.
Head north. They're headed north on 23rd and 3rd.
So we've got police running up the bridge here.
They're doing that because the garbage
Yeah.
going over the scanners, and now everyone's reporting that protesters are throwing
Garbage onto the bridge.
onto
Swarm,
the
Delta
police.
team, swarm!
But they're hitting police with.
Oh, that's probably
That's what
happening
I'm
down
hearing
at the
on
other
Twitter.
side.
I doubt it. There's no police there. There's only protesters. The only police we've seen on the bridge is the ones that we just saw walking.
Yeah, but they're making-
They had police come from Brooklyn and
But there are protesters on the walkway. All right, so you'll see the right side of this fence here it's much lower. So people were actually hopping over this side and going down to the Manhattan-bound side, and so just one of the cops just said they're on the walkway. So we saw somebody. Well, we didn't see the person, but we saw the garbage can fly onto the bridge. huge group of police scooters now speeding down the road here with a van just behind them. So I think, yeah, I think they're freaking out about the bridge right now. So this whole area, I mean, most of Lower Manhattan has been barricaded and covered with police all day. When I first got down here earlier this morning, I just saw hundreds of police on, I think it was around 2nd Avenue. Barricades everywhere. So this event was permitted. But I guess what we're hearing is that the protesters, although they had the march permitted and planned, and there was a parade route, they had further plans. And so we've seen them take the bridge. We're hearing that there's a sit-in on 3rd, and we've got a huge brigade of police making their way on the bridge. I don't know if it's too dark for you guys to see, but all of these people crossing, well, not all of them, there's a few pedestrians mixed in between, but we got a lot of cops. So it sounds like they're freaking out that the garbage was thrown onto the bridge.
Tell them that they're either going to need a bail fund or they're going to have to learn how to swim.
Is that the LRAD over there?
No, it's scooters.
Holy shit.
They're going to run over pedestrians.
Those scooters we just saw are cruising down the pedestrian walkway on the Brooklyn Bridge. Holy shit. Wow. So something.
Over pedestrians in the pedestrian lane.
So we just heard, that was crazy.
I thought it was an LRAD coming up the street.
Seriously, me too. So we just heard this really crazy, loud, high-pitched noise, and I saw a bunch of movement from the bottom of the bridge, and I thought it was people running from an LRAD. For those that aren't familiar, the LRAD is the long-range acoustic device. It's a ride control weapon that produces sound so loud it can cause permanent hearing damage. What it turned out was that a huge group of scooter-mounted police officers were zooming down the pedestrian walkway, making their way up the Brooklyn Bridge. So what we've seen so far, you can see the police have this one section blocked off, and it looks like they're still blocking off the Brooklyn Bridge. It looks like a lot of regular traffic is just stuck. These people are going to be stuck here for a while. There's somehow... We've got a police vehicle. They're taking this very, very seriously. Whatever's going on the bridge, we saw garbage thrown, and the police are moving down. One of the cops walking past us. Now, before we saw the scooters, we saw a huge group of patrol officers, and one of them I overheard in passing say they're on the walkway. So they might be spooked that protesters are on the walkway and the Brooklyn-bound side, and they're throwing things down because a garbage can was thrown from the walkway onto the bridge. But again, this is just the Brooklyn Bridge. We've also heard that there are sit-ins happening elsewhere. There are a lot of protesters scattered around. When the protests got to one police plaza, it started to rally. A lot of people started leaving. We really didn't expect to see the protesters take the bridge over. I'm sure a lot of protesters knew exactly what they had in mind. So for those just tuning in, this is the Millions March NYC. It's a protest for the many, many people killed by police. A lot of anger coming from the Mike Brown case and the Eric Garner case.